Saying a special good morning to the listeners, viewers, of course, Classic Radio. Good morning to those of you viewing GBN TV. Good morning and welcome. It's another edition of To The Point. Today being Friday is the 17th day of April 2026. Also special good morning to those of you out there, of course, listening to us via our social media platforms, the Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning and welcome. On Fridays we usually host various individuals representing the DPM. I like to simply refer to them as the movement. And in the studio with us this morning we have, of course, should I still refer to you, sir, as Pastor Stanford Simon, or should I just say Mr. Pastor Simon?
Pastor Simon is fine, Stanford is fine.
Good morning to you, sir. Welcome.
It's good to be here. Thank you so much. It's nice to be, always, for me, I guess for you, sitting behind a mic is a comfortable place to be. We're never uneasy about it.
Yeah. I mean, you do that likewise also. You do that likewise, always behind that mic. Well, nice to have you in this particular capacity this morning. I'd like to have you. Well, somehow I had your microphone off. Sorry about that.
Oh, sorry.
Somehow, I'm happy to have you in this particular capacity this morning. Of course, now putting yourself up in terms of the political realm, we could say that. My question to get the conversation of this morning, you know, I've decided to, of course, be part of the DPM. Mm-hmm. Why the DPM, sir? For start,
simply, I'm Peter friends. We have been friends for over 25 years. And we have been in the NDC together. Mm-hmm. They expelled us together. We have been friends, and as Peter, his political career has moved through and reached a point of the last thing with him with NNP, as we discussed the way forward and what to do, part and parcel of that discussion, I felt, as he felt, it was necessary for us to form a new path. For as we take this new part and collectively to be able to say, what do we do at a place where our country have two political parties, and it seems to be set in their way? Can he start something new? And I agree with him that he can. And I said, listen, I always felt that if we're going to build something, if we build it from the ground up, then you build something that is different, something that is clear where you want to go. And it's very difficult for persons then to get you to go where you do not want to go. And so for me, I have been in this discussion from the beginning with DPM to realize that the country needs a different path, a different way. The discord, the disunity, the red, the yellow, whatever color, the fighting against each other, the infighting for me of the country is divided 100,000 people, and we constantly fighting every 5 years. And people, the color seems to be driving them to believe somehow we can make the country better. What we have done is destroy the very thing we're trying to fix. And so for me, as an individual, I grew up in a home of politics. I grew up in a home where my mother used to come 2-3 days, she quarreling some bad decision their party made. And a matter of fact, my mom was in NNP. And so for me, I have a deep love and passion for politics. I've always had that. And so my involvement in politics is not today. Yeah. But the DPM brings a platform as a Christian, as a believer. I believe I could help shape the future of Grenada through something I helped build. Okay. And so in doing this, it put me at a position to be able to influence the future of our country in a better way. I stay outside for all the years and I talk. I say what should be done, what should not be done, how wrong we're going. But then the question is, what am I doing about it? Because when you elect people to serve, you do not control the decisions they make. You do not control the direction they take. Therefore, you are left hanging outside and trying to get your point of view in to make the country into what you believe it need to be. You have to be sitting at the table. And if you had to sit at the table, then you have to make the decision to then be around the table. You can't say you want to sit around the table and then stay outside and continue to wonder if you should. You have to make that decision. And for most of us, it's a big decision. For me, it was a big decision. But I must caveat that to say, for a person who asks, well, you make the decision from the church to go into politics. It wasn't that way. 15 years ago, I started the process of exiting the St. George's Baptist Church. I believe I told the church when I'm between 57 and 60, I want to be able to, I believe that somebody need to emerge to take leadership of the church because I want to do something different with my life. It wasn't politics, was on my mind to be involved at this level. 7 years ago, I made it very clear to them, again, I'm going, but they didn't believe that I was going because I was building the church. I was doing a lot of work in the church, developing the church, but I was building for the person who come after me. I was preparing the church, not for me, but for who come after me. And a year ago, God sent someone into our church from Jamaica, Pastor Richard Beckford, Reverend Beckford, Pastor Beckford, who I believe with great clarity that, a matter of fact, like my Jamaican friends said to me, we send him to you. But he came, God sent, and within 2 months, I know that he was my replacement. So
not a lot of cutting in you, but I understand you want to get into that story and spill everything out. But folks may ask a question. You know your recent retirement, but you understand that, and you said it's been 15 years in the making.
Yeah.
It's not a recent thing for
No.
Of course, folks may have a different perception on this. You have to understand.
Yeah, I know.
Folks may have a different perception on this. But why that move from that level to that level, to politics itself, and not want to put yourself up before the Grenadian public as to represent Grenada? Why that move as it stands now into politics?
Because I believe I need to. Coming out, okay. For instance, I retire from our church. What do I do? Put up my foot, go on the beach, travel the world. I love traveling. And that's fine. That's easy to do. That's nothing to do. What do I do with my life? What do I do with the gifts and talent God have blessed me with? And for me, as I said, the best way I see to serve, I could sit on boards like I've done. That's okay. But I see politics, and as I said to someone, I'm not a politician. I'm a leader seeking the office of a politician, of politics, right? Our constitution states that. I'm a leader. I'm not a politician. I'm not making this something I'm doing because I want something out of it. I'm doing this because I believe I can help make the difference in my country. And so when the decision was made, and that decision was made, truth be told, it is not in 2025. It was made in 2026. It was made finally to be able.
So you're
to
actually talking about in this year itself.
In the final decision in what I want to do. There was talk about it, but finally deciding that I will do this. You have to see in the process of all of this that I am open. I'm a very open person. I do not shut myself out from things because I'm a pastor, because I'm a contractor, no, I do not. I'm very open-minded about the possibility. Change is necessary, and one who is not willing to change will be left on the road of loneliness with a tattered flag, wondering what happened to you. There's a change happening, I believe, in our country. I believe the DPM have the capacity. They offer something different to the country, and I want to be part of something that can help the next generation to make this country better. Because I just believe in my heart that there is real possibility. There is so much, I think, the young people want, and they want to see this country better. And I know there are a lot of people in this country they're fed up with what they see like I am. And they want to see something different.
But there have been individuals who have made that mixed before.
Yes.
Stepping from the way of the church and going into politics. But you never see them hold it for the long haul for various reasons. You understand?
Right.
What's your take on that? When we see Pastor Simon, still calling you Pastor Simon,
right.
in this for the long haul, for the benefit of the people of this country.
Yes, I am. And pretty much I'm 57.
Yeah.
And I said at least I have 15 years to give to be part of this. I see myself working through this for the next 15 years to offer myself to serve this country. If you look at what I have done and how I have served in my life, the credit union, I've been serving that since in my teens. I'm still there and involved. The church, I've served on different boards. And in the process of this, and I want to also say here, I want to thank the Honorable Dr. Keith Mitchell for the opportunity he has given me to serve on the board that he has given to me in the years that I have served under his leadership as a person who give myself to serve. In every way, I have done so. The Honorable Tillman Thomas has given me an opportunity to serve in the same way. I want to thank him. And the reality of how they have given me this opportunity, and I've made myself available to serve. The Honorable Deacon Mitchell have given me opportunity to serve. And I have served. So I have not pulled back. I haven't left myself out of put myself in a political party. I'm not serving and not involved. I've always given myself to service, and I see myself, as you asked the question, not in this for the short term. I'm in this for the long term. I do not know how long God would allow me to, but I know once I'm alive, minimum, I think I'm in this for the next 15 years.
There's a conversation going around from time to time. We hear this. Folks may say you were once closely affiliated with the National Democratic Congress.
Yes.
For time with the new National Party, as you just mentioned, now with the DPN. Folks may see this as the conversation is, the talk on the road, as we say, is from hopping from party to party. How do you feel with that particular conversation out there?
I've never hopped from party to party. I never did.
I mean, you may never done it, but it's the perception that.
But the perception, it is a fair question. I would say very clearly, people must understand, I didn't leave the NDC. I was in New York. They called a meeting for a convention without telling me, and I learned of it. I flew back. And I went to SAS, where they were having their meeting. I asked for the agenda when I arrived. Nobody seems to have an agenda. 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock, agenda is not coming out. I asked who would have the agenda, because now I guess they had somebody else to chair the meeting. Now I'm arrived because they knew I was away. Okay. And I then when they give me the agenda 11 o'clock, I did my job justice. And the third item down on the agenda, someone walked forward, so Roberts walked forward, say, you have point of order. Mr. Chairman, and I allow him to. I could have stopped. I allow him to. And he said he has something to say, and he read out a long list of the persons who have been trying to take over their party and remove the Honorable Tillman Thomas, which had absolutely no truth to it. I was on that list. And there, as they say, I preside over my own execution and removal of the party. I ask, he moved the motion for these 10 persons to be removed from the party. I then said, yes, we have a person second. And I said, all in favor of this decision. I read out the names of the person, ask him to read out the names of the person. He read it out, and the party voted. I remember the Honorable Tillman Thomas was sitting behind me, and Nazim Burke was sitting behind me. I looked to them and asked, is that what you all want? They didn't raise their head and said yes, but they didn't raise their head and say no. All right. And I then looked forward and I said, okay, that you have done, you have voted so. I thank them for the opportunity to serve and to be the chairman of the party. And I left. and I walk out of the building. So one person talked about hopping. I didn't hop. They threw me. I was chairman of the party. We were doing extremely well. But persons wanted and somehow feel that we were stopping them from progressing up the leadership of the party. So the best way to deal with it is to get rid of us. That's fine. They did that. Concerning the NNP, I never was a member of the NNP. The Prime Minister asked me to serve or to do things, and I did, because I'm a Grenadian, and I serve in the capacity of whatever the Honourable Dr. Keith Mitchell asked me to serve. I was willing to serve, and I thank him for the opportunity given to me to learn and to have a great career serving this country in the places that
okay, so you were never a card-holding member, per se?
Nope. I was not. I was got only of the NDC, who expelled me from the political party along with Peter David and others. I cannot do anything about that.
Well, happy that you have cleared the air just a wee bit on that. I will bring a level of understanding in terms of how you're moving forward.
Right.
We'll be due for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back. Don't touch your dial, folks.
Attention Grader, get ready for the Clash of the Champions. The Classic Lighting Communal Credit Union Invitational Game is coming to the Kirani James Athletic Stadium April 25th and 26th. Watch the intense rivalry as the GUT Primary School goes head-to-head with Huggins Private School in a battle for speed, pride, and bragging rights. This is not just about style, it's about the fastest time. It's about power on the track. It's about glory, honor, and fame. Who will ride? Who will dominate? Who will take home the golden stake of this year's CCU Invitational Games? Don't miss the action. April 25th and 26th at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Classic Lighting Communal Credit Union Invitational Game, where champions are made.
Right Choice Promotion presents Lyrics and Laughter, the ultimate pre-Mother's Day show. It's coming to the Grenada Trade Center on Sunday, May the 3rd from 5 p.m. Get ready for an evening of non-stop comedy, sweet Caribbean vibes, and pure entertainment. From Trinidad and Tobago, the funniest man in the region, Errol Fabian.
She said, not even my shoes. I said, no.
Humorous Calypsonians, Trinidad Rio.
Going back to basics.
And the Calypso Princess herself, Kareen Ashe from the Spice Isles. 2 decades of legend, Randy Isaac, Little Reds, plus local comedy king, Robert White, Dillian Walters, Fat Man George, and Kareem Alexis, delivering lyrical mastery, 11-time Calypso Monarch scholar, all backed by the Heatwave Band, with special musical treats from Lyndon Langdon on sax and Jelani Moses on violin. It's lyrics, it's laughter, it's music, it's vibes. Tickets just $75. Available now at gotofed.com and other outlets island-wide. Treat mom, treat your partner, treat yourself. Lyrics and laughter. Sunday, May the 3rd, 5 p.m. Grenada Trade Center. Don't miss it. Grenada, the fire's about to be lit. Get ready for the ultimate grilling showdown. Maggie, King of the Grill 2026 is coming your way. Saturday, May the 30th at the Munrouge Plain Field. The search is on for the island's top grill masters. Do you have what it takes? Bring your flavor and compete in the chicken category, the seafood category, and the bold, most creative grill category, where daring ideas take the crown. And this year, the heat isn't just for adults. Introducing the Junior Grillers category. Schools and youth groups. If you are under 18, this is your time to shine. So fire up those coals, sharpen those grilling skills, and get ready to battle for grilling glory. Registration is now open. Call or WhatsApp 405-8458 to secure your spot. Maggie, King of the Grill 2026. Saturday, May the 30th, Munrouge Plain Field. Come for food, stay for the vibes, and witness who will be crowned King of the Grill. Brought to you by Maggie, enhancing the natural flavor of your food.
Welcome back once again to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers. To the point. Welcome back, of course, Mr. Simon with us this morning here on the program, and we're talking this morning. You gonna be? I didn't get that bit of information. The particular constituency that you will be representing, sir, being part of the DPM.
Southeast.
Southeast.
Yeah.
conversations with the constituents so far, how has that been going for you?
Very good. But I also want to say first, I want to thank the Honorary Gregory Boeing for the years that he has served us in the constituency. He have done a lot of work there. I think he has helped the constituency a lot in many, many ways. And I want to thank him for his service and the way that he have served. But I also want to say that it was really good. Last night I had a session in Petersfield.
Yeah.
And I was amazed. The turnout, one of the people in the homes in there, but also just the discussion, the question that was asked, one, and secondly, just the discussion after, sitting around and talking with people, and to feel them. And I went through last week, just walking through and just talking to people. It's just it feel like, and I use the term, it feel like witnessing. You know, you're going out and it give you that feeling to talking to people about you, about what you would like to do, what you like to see, but also listening to them and hearing their issues and hearing the challenge that they face. You know, you have, I go on as a pastor, personal pastor, could you pray for me? So they were both happening that I'm out there telling persons about my aspiration to serve as a parliamentarian here in our country. And at the same time, they would say to me, Pastor, I have this issue I want to talk to you about, and talk to them, or somebody say, I want to pray for you. I know my person. It was very interesting because I've never been in that position before, where
it's in a different capacity,
where the two collide.
Yes.
And how do you balance them? But I must say, it's really good. Next week I'll be in Marion, Cocoa Junction, and then I have my launch that happens on the 17th of next month. So it feels good. It feels really good. You make this, decisions are made. And, and I often say to persons, in my life, I've always made decisions with God's leadership. When I don't, I end up in trouble. You have to know that this is the right decision to make. Because there are people who would be against you, there are people for you. There are people who say things to you that will make you wonder if you make the right decisions. But if you know from the beginning, DT, that this decision is the right decision, you feel it, you know it, you accept it, you begin to live it. Trust me, it is the most beautiful thing there is to live with, because there is a sense of joy, a sense of peace. My wife, Yvonne, often says she, out of the country, she's back. And when I told her that, this is where I want to go, and she said, well, if you're in this and I'm in this too, normally you don't have that. I didn't get involved in saying to her that you have to be a part of that. But the reality when you have your family now seeing and joining you in what you're doing, it make it a lot easier, and it make you know that you're doing the right thing. Because women don't wives normally stay, in the background. But her willingness to say, listen, I'm willing to serve with you in this, make a whole lot of difference. And I'm really excited about it. I'll be honest.
Tell me, what is that contribution that you think you could make to the political landscape in Grenada today, sir? If the opportunity is really awarded to you.
Let me go back a bit to come forward a bit. I've served in the credit union for many years, all my life. I served the credit union movement for over 12 years, being the president of the league. When I went into the credit union, we were 16,000 memberships, 60,000 in asset. When I come out of being, I no longer were the president of the league, we were then over $300 million in asset. We were over 30,000 persons who joined the credit union. We were 21 credit union. When I left, we were 11.
Okay.
And I was the president of a Christian Services Credit Union. The first credit union amalgamated, I led that charge.
Okay.
I'm like with teachers then. Okay. It's Alexa now. So I served in that capacity. I served on different boards. I just think about the main one. I serve on GDB board. when I went in there, and I remember the Prime Minister asked me to serve, and I said, why? He said, because you have the capacity. He's seen me something I didn't see. I never saw myself as being the chairman of a bank.
Okay.
He saw that, and I thank him for that. It was a great learning experience. And I remember saying to him, if you give me the opportunity to serve, then I would serve, but you have to leave me alone.
Yeah.
And he did. And within the 7 years I served there, within 1 year, in the 50 years of the bank, they never paid government a dividend. Within the second year, government was paid dividend, and thereafter, every year they were paid. The bank, with the leadership of the manager, Mr. Mervyn Lord, became one of the leading bank in the Eastern Caribbean, which we were not when I went in. And when you think about my service in the church, always looking to bring people together. I've always done that. St. George's Baptist Church, when I went in, there was 9 of us. I remember having to wait for the Lagoon persons to come up and to be part of the church to start the service. When I left, we over 200 persons there, sometimes 250 attending church. And you think about the capacity, the church has become one of the most influential church in the country. Brain B is one of the things I picked up, educating children. I believe of educating children, and has become very effective. Many of the children now are doctors and lawyers and engineers, and who have gone on to be neuroscientists and all of that. I see the change and the dynamics that our young people. So I've served in that capacity. I also see, as I bringing churches together, the Springs community of churches, bringing the churches together and working together. So all my life, what I've done is service. All my life, I helped bring people together, bring church together, bring the country together. I want to bring that kind of leadership to the country, because I believe we are far more efficient and effective as a nation working together than divided. I often say bringing church people together is the most difficult and challenging thing. And if you could work to help bring people from different churches together, I believe it's easier to bring the country together, because persons may treat you on the denomination, look at it that way. Remember, I invited the late Bishop Darius, to preach at our church. And the church was skeptical about that, but he did. He came. He preached on salvation, surprisingly, and he was clear. I remember that. It was all. People weren't easy about it, but when he left, people appreciate that. I invited Pastor Jerome Gordon from the Seventh Adventist. He preached at my church many times. He's Pentecost. He's Seventh Adventist. Pastor Simpson Warm constantly work with me. We are together and work very well. Pastor Jerome King Douglas, he's evangelical. We work very good together. Bishop Clyde Harvey, I love that guy. I really do. He come to my church and give his personal testimony, interview, talk with him, and sit on interview. So I had the opportunity to bring people from different faiths together, and without division. Now, I believe that if you put the faith aside, in Grenada, people are either on one side or the other side, or they're in the middle. Now, I believe if you could give people a pathway and said, look, for us to make this country better, we have to come together. Singapore, remember, they kicked Malaysia, kicked out Singapore in the 60s. And 2 million people, look at this. These people had absolutely nothing. Just an island with nothing. And the guy who was there had nothing about leading a country. What he said, we need to come together as a country to make this country better. Today, Singapore is a leading financial hub in the Far East. And Singapore now, they are one of the richest countries in the world. They had nothing. There was a dump. We have everything. We have soil. We have people that are educated. We have an island that's strategically located, that have access to so many things. Trust me, if we as a country could come together and not look at the colors and think about what we can do, if when you get into office, you don't look at a man through the eyes of his NMP or NDC support you or not, but you look at him as a Grenadian who has the capacity to serve and to make this country better. trust me, we would have the best minds, the best people working together, and it'll make our leaders more accountable. But also, you put us in a strategic position, and the diaspora, bringing these people back home and saying, look, you have an opportunity to help to change this country. Look at your platform that we are giving you to serve. I just think the sky's the limit. I believe in my heart the transformation starts when you believe that we as a country can do far better than we are doing now, and we can. We cannot continue like this. For the sake of our children, the future of our country, we must come together, and that's the platform I believe in. That's a platform DPM believing, and I think clearly Peter Davis will always say that. We have to get out of the tribes.
Looking at the level of division that is in this country today, sir.
Yes.
You know, folks say it's not even split down the middle.
Yeah.
To a point. It's not split down the middle. But the level of division from folks on the different political realms and so forth. Do you believe that the DPM could make a difference in the political, state of Grenada today?
I believe we're already making a difference.
Yeah.
Because people are seeing a different path. Because we're not in the tribalism. We're not trying to get people, destroy them, their character, or to go after them. What we see is a country that needs help, and we're offering ourselves to help. I also believe that, let's look at Peter David and his service to the country. He have always been, they call him the peace man, and he have always been one who have seek to bring people together. I have always seek that, but more than that, uniting people always take a bit of sacrifice, but it also take a bit of humility, because it means you have to accept certain things you may have difficulties accepting. You also would have to work with people who do not believe the same thing you believe, who are not in the same space that you're in. But you have to change some things, the way you think, the way you look at people, to be able to allow them to see it from your point of view. You're not always right. Yeah. And there are people out there who have the capacity, who bluntly will tell you they don't like you. Bluntly they will tell you they want nothing to do with you. But if you take the time to get to know them and reach out to them and meet them where they are and find common ground, I believe that you can together come out from a better place, because you find some things that you both believe in. You're not agreeing on everything. Just like in churches and denomination, you do not believe everything. I have a dear friend of mine that he is someone say people have issues with some religions. I work with everybody. And I often say, you can only change what's happening in front of you if you need and see to change yourself. If you are willing to change, the opportunity for you helping others to see that they can change, the sky's the limit. And that is what I believe can happen in this country. I believe in my heart. I really believe. I go back to 4 years of the revolution, and I see how in 4 years, what we did to this country. I think we have the opportunity to do it only if we believe that we can. But somebody must lead it, and I believe at this point, Peter David have the capacity, have the opportunity, and collectively for us coming around him to make sure that happened. One would say, some people would say, well, I don't trust Peter David. Well, I trust him. I trust him fully. And if you trust me, and believe that I believe what we're doing is right, let's do it together.
You spoke a while ago about bringing people together, but I would like to know, what's your personal political philosophy, sir?
I've often say, I believe in this, that politically you cannot look at a country and want it to succeed and not see the need to transform the way people think, the way people behave. I, as a person, believe that politicians must have integrity. Yeah. You need to have that. I believe you must be honest. You must be honest in what you do. You must mean what you say, and say what you mean. If you cannot answer a question, I believe you should mute and don't say anything. I cannot answer it at this point because for the reason I can't. I also believe, my political philosophy is that you are not there to take, but you're here to give, to serve. Humility. Humility meaning not that people walk over you, but that your willingness to be humble, to listen, to learn, and have the guts to say that I was wrong. Have the guts to say, listen, I made a bad decision. I made a bad call. I also believe with great clarity that the centerpiece of one's own bearing should be God being that embedded part of your life. And with me, I am open to seeing, being, and accepting the realities that come to me as politically, because politics have its, they said, its own morality, Pandey said. But I believe if you have your own morality, it means then politics should not destroy your morality. You should influence the morality of politics.
We drew for a break, Pastor Simon. Let's take that break. Over return, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the point, Classic Radio. We will be right back.
In Grenada.
Sunday, April 19. All roads lead to Progress Park in St. Andrew as Cash Frenzy presents Rides and Rolls. You can win 2 Suzuki Ignis, 2 cars, and $50,000 rolls of cash. Your ticket $60 for one, $100 for two. Bingo time 5 p.m. So get there early. Your DJs, DJ Taz, DJ John Boy, and hosted by Shortleg. All taking place at Progress Park in St. Andrew. $50,000 cash and 2 Suzuki Ignis. Sunday, April 19th. Progress Park in St. Andrew. Come win yourself some cash and drive in fine style.
Across our Caribbean, we're going digital, working smarter and living safer online.
In Dominica, we don't fall for fake prices. We check before we click.
In Grenada, we verify before we share, keeping our hard-earned money safe from hackers.
In St. Lucia, we report cyberbullying, protecting our children and each other.
In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we report scams fast, protecting our neighbors and our communities.
Together, we're building a cyber-smart Caribbean, keeping our people and our data safe, standing up to scams and cybercrime. We stay connected, but always alert. This message is brought to you by the Caribbean Digital Transformation Project. Stay smart, stay safe. Think Card TP. Visit cardtpconnect.org.
Life doesn't stand still. It moves. It grows. It asks you to believe in what's next. Your first car. Owning your home. The business you build. The future you choose to invest in. Life moves in steps. When you're ready to take the next one, we're here to help you move forward with banking solutions designed for life. From vehicle financing and mortgages to education savings, credit solutions, and support for your growing business. Republic Bank, ready for life, every step.
back. Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers. Welcome back once again. It's To The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. Pastor Simon, I have another question for you. You know, there's that common perception that politics often requires compromise.
Yes.
All right. With the truth, some folks would say that. No, you as a pastor, grounded in faith and morals, accountability, do you believe that you can succeed in an environment without compromising your personal principles, sir?
Yeah, I do. Because I've been in position already where that has happened many times. And I have had to look at people in the eye and says, no, I'm not doing this. And this is the reason why. I'm not just telling you, I'm not doing it, but I also tell you the reason I am not doing it. You have to be able to compromise. That's very true. But when compromise interfere with who you are, I have a problem. Or what you believe, I have a problem. Because you have to be able to speak truth to power. And that's all oftentimes the difficulties in my life. And people know me. I've never had problem speaking truth to power. And I believe in one way or another, that's one of the reasons why they expel me from the NDC, because I accept that sometimes you have to be careful, mindful of what you say when you say it. But you also, whether it's privately or publicly, you must be able to speak with clarity. And the world that we live in, where persons feel compromise is a way to get you ahead, I say compromise is a way to bury you, to destroy you. It may take time, it may not happen immediately, but after a while, have you ever sleeping in the night and a pipe is dripping? After a while, it begins to disturb you.
Yes.
But if you leave that bucket that is dripping, fall in a bucket too long, it overflows the bucket. And what it starts to do is flood the house. Yeah. And before you know it, a lot of stuff in your house would get ruined. That is like, if you allow compromise to interfere with who you are.
So that's what you call about nip it to the bud early.
Exactly. So you have to be able, people have to know where you are. And I see a man came to me and asked me, he said, before he said what he had to say to me, he said, listen, I know you would say no, but I want to still ask you. And a couple of years after, he came back and said to me, he said, I came to you that day, I really needed you to say yes, although I know you say no, but I'm happy that you said no. Even though it hurt him that I said no, he also realized that I did this for his own good. Even though I could have benefited from it, I said no. To me, those are the positions you have to be ready and willing to take, because you want to make people better. You have to want to see people do better. If you are in this to build yourself up or to take advantage of persons, or you're in there just to get what you deem necessary for your own good, there is no need to get into it. That's why I got involved in the credit union. That's why I get involved in community groups. That's why I serve on boards, because I believe I can make a difference.
I want to go back a wee bit to earlier questions that I asked, but I just want to tweak it in a different manner to get your perception on it also. Now, folks may say, pastoral duties is said to be of a higher calling.
Yes.
Right? You serve a deity, a god.
Yes.
How do you respond to the critics who think that you are downgrade or you're betrayed, or giving up or going into politics? Because is it seen as a downgrade to you? If that.
No, it's not, because I'm still a pastor. I haven't removed myself from pastor. You see, because in the Caribbean, in Grenada, people think you have to pastor a church to be a pastor. And you cannot, for them, somehow, when you're not a pastor, when you're not pastoring a church, you're not a pastor. That's not true. The other thing is, I want to say to persons, listen, you may do it secretly. And many of you are listening to me, watching me right now, you're doing it secretly. You are supporting one political party or the other, including pastors and leaders and bishops, right? You do not want to do it publicly. I just have the guts that you don't have to come forward and say, listen, I am willing and ready to serve this country. So for many persons, it is difficult, the criticism of what comes with it, the things that they hear people say about politicians. And then they said, no, I can't deal with that. So they stay in the background and they give the support, and that's all fine. And I respect that. I respect that. But I just have something different in me that gives me what it takes to come forward and said, I am willing to serve. So I do not see myself as in a lower office and a higher office, because if I become a parliamentarian, I still would be preaching. I still would be witnessing. I still would be reading my Bible. I've done all the things that hasn't moved my way. I'm still doing all my radio programs. There was only one thing I've changed in my retirement from the St. George's Baptist Church. I'm no longer the senior pastor of the St. George's Baptist Church. Only one single thing have changed. Persons have used that to say, he no longer a pastor. I am now, I am back at the church where I were saved, where I got baptized, where I called into ministry. That the Emmanuel Baptist Church. Okay. I'm serving there. I'm enjoying it. There are 35 of us there. It's great fun. I could tell you that. As a matter of fact, I'm meeting them this afternoon to do a presentation to them. So the thought of persons using that as a means to distract from the real issue, are you willing to serve this country to make it better? That's the issue. What can we do together to ensure that we do not have a country 5-10 years from now worse off than it is?
What do you see, what do you foresee as some of the major concerns in Grenada today?
Healthcare. That's a key issue. I think it's important for us to look at that. I went to library and I didn't know that clinic there were closed. I was quite shocked because as a kid growing up, that was one of the main clinic in the area along with Mongeloo. So I was quite surprised. I don't know why yet. I haven't, so I can't say why, but I was shocked that were closed. Primary health care is key. And I think we have to do that. The revolution was successful in that because it focused on primary health care. The clinics, money was spent in building up, making sure the clinic is funded, the doctors are there, the nurses are there, medications are there. So less people was going to the general hospital, but less people was being taken care of. So primary health care is key, and within the DPM portfolio, it is clear that one going to be a major issue for us to look at primary health care. How can we help to ensure that happens? That's one. Two, education. The way we're educating our people and our children cannot continue the way it is. Let me tell you why. I go back to Urban Methodist School. I'm a carpenter and a builder today because Mr. Bruno and Mr. Simon, who is my school teacher, saw I wasn't academically strong, but they saw I was very gifted with my hand with the things I used to fix around the school. So they pushed me to stay in the workshop more. With that, what came out is a product of what you have today. What I see in the school, we push kids, whether academic or law, and in and you're out. I think that's really not working for us because it's keeping back the kids who are academically strong, so they are not really challenged when they go into the school system. Because if you have children there who can't read, can't write, having issues, and you have those who could really good and bright kids, they are not pushed to do better and they have the capacity to. I believe that should be changed. I do not believe that we need to look. I think that there are more to education. It needs to be overhauled. Let me put it this way. Our education system in Grenada need to be overhauled because we have a big gap now where we do not have skills in the country. Yeah. We have a big problem with that, and it's really, really bad. It's hurting us, the importation of labor, because we used to get, St. George's used to get the skilled labor from St. David, St. Andrews, and St. Patrick's. You have the best carpenters used to come from St. David. The best masons used to come from St. Andrews and St. Patrick's. Now, you had the skill set somehow was coming through. Because you have more building across the country, one, so they're staying in the area. Two, what has also happened, a lot of our skills coming out of our schools, our children are now moving from school to go learn a trade. that has changed. When we came out of school, it was immediate. You go learn a trade, whatever that trade is.
He's correct about that.
Right. So that has changed. So it's hurting us. So we need to find a mechanism to be able to correct that. I think there's some schools need to be built specifically addressing that issue. And government could always find money to do what it wants to do. I just believe so. So you could find money to build or to put addition wing to schools, teaching those that did mechanic or whatever you want to teach, plumbing, electrical. You could do that. That's the second thing. So we have the education, we have the healthcare, agriculture. We have the best soil. The best soil. I travel across the region, across the Caribbean, South America, North America, and Africa. We have a great soil. What we have not done is capitalize on that. We have focused on tourism so much. 80% of our food are imported. Now, how could you survive with that? If those boats stop coming, you tell me how will we feed ourselves? More than go back and plant? The seeds that we get now, a lot of the seeds that we get, you cannot, it is not the seeds that where we have or father used to do, right? You get a seed and you save it for the following year. I remember my grandmother, we tied the corn, you do the corn and you hang it up, you get the peas, the dried peas, you do it and you put it, sometimes you pick specific peas and specific corn based on the air to be able to transfer that. That has changed. So a lot of our children are not growing up in the garden. Agriculture is very poorly promoted, so they don't see it as something, and parents are guilty of that too. You know, they don't want children to go and work in the land, but agriculture make a lot of money. I mean, it's the best place to be. And if you think about it, so we need to put more money and more resources into agriculture. It is critically, and it needs to be one of the pillars, right, of critically important for us. And finally, I am always taken back by why are we not taking advantage of solar? At the St. George's Baptist Church, before I left, just last year, we installed a solar system on our church that now 100%, if we pay Glen, let's say we were $2,000, we pay them maybe $100 a month or less. All right, and the money from we use pay Glen, we know the church is now paying the loan with that money. In 5 years, it finished pay off for the loan, and then they get free electricity. Okay. Right, you can have. I also did that on my house. Right, 100%, pretty much it happened. And Emmanuel Duncan, I mean, this guy is good. I want to say that. I mean, he understands what he do, and he's a great guy in terms of doing this kind of work, and people should really reach out to him because I think he has the capacity to help. So when you look across our country, I know there is concession given to people. I want to challenge Grenadian to move to solar. It is the best thing we can do, because if the boat, it's all happening in the Strait of Hormuz, what's happening in the world. Our gas price now is $16. Think about it. If this thing really goes south, how are we driving all these nice cars we have? How are we running our nice houses with the AC that we have in our house? Unless we change how we think. And trust me, I'm clearly focused on these things because I believe in the DPM is also focused on these things because we believe it is key to our success and survival in the future.
All right. That's how we do for a break. Let's take that break. When we come back, we get into our final segment of the program. And the next segment, of course, I'll give the opportunity to our listeners and viewers, though they may have a question or two they may like to ask. Feel free to do that in the next segment. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back. Don't touch it out.
Across our Caribbean, we're going digital, working smarter and living safer online.
In Dominica, we don't fall for fake prices. We check before we click.
In Grenada, we verify before we share, keeping our hard-earned money safe from hackers.
In St. Lucia, we report cyberbullying, protecting our children and each other.
In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we report scams fast, protecting our neighbors and our communities.
Together, we're building a cyber-smart Caribbean, keeping our people and our data safe, standing up to scams and cybercrime. We stay connected, but always alert. This message is brought to you by the Caribbean Digital Transformation Project. Stay smart, stay safe. Think Card TP. Visit cardtpconnect.org.
The Presentation Brothers College and the St. Joseph's Convent St. George's Choirs presents Voices Lifted in Hope.
Everybody shouting.
An uplifting, inspiring experience featuring the joint choir for the first time in youthful exuberance, along with students from other secondary schools across Grenada. Join us on April 18th at the Grenada Trade Center, starting from 7 p.m. Adults pay $40, students pay $20, and VIP for $80. Voices Lifted in Hope. Come out and support the nation's youth as they showcase their talent. April 18th at the Grenada Trade Center. Do not miss this.
Life doesn't stand still. It moves. It grows. It asks you to believe in what's next. Your first car. Owning your home. The business you build. The future you choose to invest in. Life moves in steps. When you're ready to take the next one, we're here to help you move forward with banking solutions designed for life. From vehicle financing and mortgages to education savings, credit solutions, and support for your growing business. Republic Bank, ready for life, every step.
Sunday, April 19, all roads lead to Progress Park in St. Andrew as Cash Frenzy presents Rides and Rolls. You can win 2 Suzuki Ignis, 2 cars, and $50,000 rolls of cash. Your ticket $60 for one, $100 for two. Bingo time 5 p.m. So get there early. Your DJs, DJ Taz, DJ John Boy, and hosted by Shortleg. All taking place at Progress Park in St. Andrew. $50,000 cash and 2 Suzuki Ignis. Sunday, April 19th. Progress Park in St. Andrew. Come win yourself some cash and drive in fine style.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers. It's To The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. We have approximately just roughly about 10 more minutes left on the program this morning. And in this segment, as I mentioned, we're going to give the opportunity to our listeners and viewers out there. We do have our first caller. Caller live. Good morning. Welcome.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Telesford. Greetings to your guest, Mr. Simon.
Good morning, Mr. Rolo.
How do you know it's me?
Because your voice is very distinct like mine.
I see. Hallelujah. Thank you.
Amen, brother.
Listen, couple of things here. First I should say, I'm very happy to know that you have informed, well, I didn't know, believe you me, I did not know that you were a quote-unquote contractor. That means you know how to build. Am I correct?
I don't think he heard you. Maybe.
Yeah, yes, I am.
You know how to build?
Yes.
Great, because that... I'm going to ask a question later after these brief comments, Mr. Simon.
Yes.
I heard you this morning and so on, and I feel good to hear certain things that you're saying. But you know, all that I've heard you say, we've heard it already. Over the past 52 years. Deja vu. All those who present themselves, one of the questions I asked you was, your philosophy. What's your philosophy? And you went around and said, well, when you didn't use God-fearing, but I reckon that it means you're a God-fearing man, you believe in this and you believe, but you know, you have already said, mention the ideological component. Some are afraid of it, but you have to be, I believe that you have to be a true politician to obey from the etymology or the originality of the word polis, the people's business you want to prepare yourself for, offer yourself, you have to have an ideology. Some people are ashamed to say that they're socialists or they have this ideology. Some people are ashamed to say that they're liberal, neoliberal, conservative. Say it. I'd like to do next time you come back, I want to answer that question, right? Now, here's my question pertinent to today, Mr. Sam. This here country has been bluffed over 52 years about the status of the constitutional architecture. If you do not know, Mr. Simon, I urge you to investigate it. Search for a document called The Constitution Review in Grenada, Some Things to Consider, authored by Nicholas Liverpool et al. In 2002. We're talking about 24 years ago. Am I correct in my math? Yes.
Yes.
He said there that Grenada has never been a politically independent and sovereign nation. I remember the second paragraph of the document before I asked the question. He said, well, anyway, what he did explain, I'm trying to line up the exact sentences. There we go. Neither the document terminating Grenada's associate state with the United Kingdom nor the current constitution are resolutions from the Parliament of Grenada and continue to be on the face imperial orders in council of the Queen's Most Excellent Majesty. And he went on to tell us what we were to do as a document was an orientation document and so on. Mr. Simon, they pushed it aside, didn't it? All the representatives of within the years, they hid it. It tells us crystal clear. You went on to tell what we should do, and then patriot. He explained what patriot in a constitution. Discussion with the people and making it their own. Question, therefore. I've asked Mr. David his position that he's the head of your organization. I want to hear your personal view, Mr. Simon, sir, as a reputable individual in the society. Are you prepared to continue with living in Grenada and serving as a member, if duly elected, to serve this country in the current constitutional architecture, continuing to be a colony of Great Britain? Take it, evidence is there. His Majesty's prisons, the Crown lands, His Majesty's Parliament, established in Section 23 and 57 in the Parliament and in the Executive. It is there for us to see. How far are you prepared to go? What is your position on reconstituting this nation so that the people of this country can have, through a constituent assembly, discussions within themselves to concur on what is needed for the future direction of our country? I trust my question is understood. In this way, I will see you and I will get to know exactly what you propose to offer our country. I trust my question is understood. Do have a nice day, gentlemen, for what it's worth.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much.
Now,
a response to the call?
Yeah, my response. Listen, I am clearly constitutional reform. I have always believed we need to change our constitution. I am clearly, personally believe that we cannot continue on the present construct that we have. Our constitution need to be looked at. It need to be reviewed. And therefore, just last night, I had a phone call from someone who said to me that if I'm willing to work with them to look at constitutional reform. And I said yes. Why? Because I do believe in my heart that need to be looked at and need to be changed.
Okay, we do have another caller. Caller via WhatsApp. You're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, GT.
Good morning to you. Go right ahead, please.
All right. My thing about it, Simon, when I look at you and I listen to you, I think you're just an opportunist and is one that looking for another way to make money again. All right? And I will tell you why. All right? Because when I look at you, all right, as you call yourself a pastor, will resign to be a politician, and we know the reputation of certain politicians. You know what I mean? And then my question to you now, okay, you serve with Kit Mitchell. I just said Kit Mitchell asked you to serve. You saw all the wrong that was going on in Grenada. Right? You had interview with Kit Mitchell also. Why didn't you stand up, right, and confront him and the wrong that was done to Grenada? You know what I mean? As we know about the fish farm, we know about all the convents and them. And you served with him because you was benefiting from him. All right? Why didn't you stand up? All right? My second question, you see all the things that happened to Peter. All what he said about Peter during the time leading up to the leadership that Emlyn Pierre gave. All right? You never spoke out for once. Why now? Why now you come back with the same Peter? The same Peter you never speak out for, but all now Peter is your friend. And my last question to you.
Caller, we're going to take two questions. We're going to take two because for time reason, we're going to take two. Thanks, of course. Give
no problem.
Simon an opportunity to answer.
All right, two things. One, I retired from the St. George's Baptist after more than 25 years of service. I didn't resign. The opportunity of serving the right on Dr. Mitchell gave me an opportunity to serve, and I served this country well. Those who know me would have known, and Prime Minister Dr. Mitchell have many confrontation and disagreements, publicly and privately. But he's not my enemy. He's not my enemy. And therefore, that's a problem in this country. Yes, that people do things wrong, but you have to have the capacity to be able to look at somebody and tell them that they're wrong, but at the same time, do not allow yourself to make them an enemy. And the third thing about Peter never responded. Peter never responded. All the things that are happening there, negatively to what was happening. I had no reason to respond because Peter himself did not respond. Why should I do anything to something that someone saw he was unfairly treated? Yes. But the reality that he accepted it, that's the reality, and he made a decision to leave. And therefore, that's why I'm where I am with him today, because we believe we can chart a different path forward.
Okay, we do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning, welcome.
Hi, good morning to you, GT, and to Mr. Simon.
Good morning to you.
I've been listening very carefully to you, Mr. Simon. You know my voice. Distinguished one as well. I am a bit concerned because based on what you have said, you had 1 foot in the church and 1 foot out for the last 12 years. That's what you actually said. And the movement was not formed 12 years ago. It was formed only after Peter David did not get elected as the leader of that party. So, in other words, assuming that Peter was selected as the leader of the NNP, you would have automatically become an NNP. So it seems as though you are wavering personally. It seems as though your loyalty is into a man and not into a principle or an ideology, as Mr. Roller was saying. Now, higher calling and lower calling. When I was about 21 years old, I was identified as somebody with good potential to be a politician. I remember in college, Teachers College, I was the head of the guild. And guy said that the best contribution he could make. You know what I said? Politics, unlike what you're saying, you spoke of uniting churches. Politics is divisive in its core, at its core. You cannot unite people through politics. Your congregation will have half who are from one party and half from the other party. It is divisive at its core. So if you're concerned about people and you're concerned about uniting people, politics is the last route that you would take. You spoke about politics have its own morality, yes. And you said you have your own morality. This is wrong. You may have your own integrity, but you don't have your own morality. Like Donald Trump said, he has his own morality too. And you see where he's leading us. So we have to be very careful about those things. And I am disappointed that for 12 years you were just looking for the opportunity to step out of your ministry and into politics. And I think that will be a very divisive thing that you are getting involved into, and I'm sure that you know it. Wishing you all the best, and do have a wonderful day.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Respond to the caller?
Yeah, I always smile. I was at my church. I was the chairman of the NNDC. My church did not divide. I served very well. The question of being loyal to a man, I've never been loyal to anybody. I'm loyal to my relationship with Jesus Christ. That's what I'm loyal to. Truth to power, I've always been who I am. The question of politics is divisive. Of course it is. We all know that. I've been in it. I grew up in it. But because you say something is bad, you believe that good people should not get involved, and that's a problem. The problem why politics is the way it is, because Christians have stayed out of it. If you look at the Bible, throughout the Bible, and especially the Old Testament, the king who was a man given the responsibility to lead the country. He also was very much involved with his relationship with God and the leadership. And if you think about looking at Joseph in being the prime minister of Egypt, think through what you have said. Politics, yes, is divisive, but I am not. I am not divisive. I am not the person who would come and trying to destroy people's lives and condemn because they have a different point of view to mine. I have people who are my friends, are Catholic, Methodist, Anglican, Seventh Adventists. They are all my friends. And the reality of it is the same way with politics. We have two sides. I am in the middle of both of them, and I want no enemies.
We do have another caller. Caller via WhatsApp. You're live. Good morning and welcome.
Yes, gentlemen. Morning.
Good morning.
You know, I have two issues, to present. And the last caller basically deals with one of them. Because I keep hearing politicians talking about uniting the people, and it's only for their benefit, basically. Because the problem is party politics, that is division, is not necessarily politics. And once you identify with a party, and plus you all have a color already, only kind of people in this country who could talk about unity is people like me who doesn't belong to a political party, who has no interest in belonging to a political party. But interesting that you made a point relative to food security and relative to that hospital that is being proposed or planned to be built. That's the most horrible thing about that hospital. It's not just having a hospital that maybe we can't even afford, but where it is being placed. Displacing a whole set of farmers from quality land, fertile land in this country. Food security hangs in the balance just based on that issue there. And worse yet is the displacement of CADI, an institution designed for higher food production in this world, in our country and in the Caribbean. But they choose that very place where CADI is set up as an institution, and the displacement of a whole lot of farmers plus that to build a hospital, when food security is such a big question in this day and age. Take care, gentlemen.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Respond to the caller, please.
Listen, I just think that the fact of politics, just the same way. I believe that if you are willing to serve, you have to face the heat. It's anything else. If you are manager of a company, there is a culture for company. There is where it is. When you going into that company, you have to begin to change the culture. You cannot stay outside and change it. You have to be in it to win it, as they say. But you have to be in it to help to make transformation. And I believe I have the capacity to be able to help to make the transformation, despite all the division that we have had. My life, I've always been, and if you look at the history of my life in this country, I've always been in bringing people together and creating harmony. I am committed to doing that for the interests of our country.
All right. We do have another caller, which may be our final caller for the morning. We take this final caller and we get some closing contributions for you. So, caller via WhatsApp, you're live. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning to your listeners. Good morning to your guest, Pastor Simon. Congratulations on a lot of things that you have done. I know many times when you spoke about I and my. So I was at the bank and I was a leader there, and we did so many things. The bank did far better financially, millions of dollars. Well, let me ask, in developing any place, be it the home or a community, it is not about I only, it's about we, the entire family group, the mother, the father, the children. So in that regard, going on to the question of your church and the whole principle of churches and the Bible and so forth, does the members of your church own the institution, or is it owned by somebody else or by some conference? Because, you know, people go to church, they make their contribution, they make their donations, they buy property, they build churches, and then all of a sudden, somebody else owns it. So I'm asking that question. I don't know if you could enlighten us. That's one. Two, you talk about agriculture. Where is your voice on the question of the restructuring of MNIB, where a farmer doesn't have the opportunity to own a share in that institution today and for the last 40 years? And on the question of schools, the Canadians in the very early days, 1970s, under the Irigaray government, built schools in Grenada. There were junior secondary schools and there were technical arms to those schools. You have been involved in NDC, NNP, and now the movement. How is it for those last 15 years we have not heard your voice very loud speaking about technical schools? Thank you, and have a blessed day.
Thank you, caller. And that was my final caller on the program this morning. Pastor Sam, I get the opportunity to respond.
First, about using what you asked me a question about me. You asked me a question about I, and I was speaking about me. The question you asked, so I responded to it as what I have been involved in and what I believe that I can do. So I responded to the question that you asked. The question of food security, as I said, I've spoken on that, and I believe that we are. On the question of I have not speaking, that's not true. If you go back and listen to my sermon I've preached in the past 30 years here, I've been one who has spoken a lot about the ills of our society, the things that we need to do. I've put forward position that I believe what we need to take. We've always been food security, energy, healthcare. Those are things I've spoke on over and over again. If you go online and listen to the sermons I've delivered over the years, it is not just speaking about get saved and give your life to Christ and go to heaven. It's about how can we live in this society collectively together, and how do we transform our country together. I've always been that. I've always been about working together, and the persons who I've worked with over the years have been very effective and efficient in helping me to be better. At the St. George's Baptist Church, I've worked with a great team of persons there who have helped me to be a better leader. And therefore, we have built something very unique and special there. And I do believe in my heart that if collectively we can look at our country, say in the last 15 years, I have not said anything. I want to respond to say that is absolutely nonsense. I have done and spoken, but I've also taken the lead in helping to do a number of things in this country that I believe that is critical for our success and our development as a nation.
Pastor Simon, I want to thank you a whole lot for being on the program this morning. I will give you the opportunity. Anything in closing you may want to say before we take a wrap for today?
I want to say that I want to thank the persons who have helped me over the years to get to where I am, and to be able to have this opportunity to put myself forward to serve this country. I put myself forward to serve with the DPM because I believe they have a great platform that can help transform our country. Leadership is critical, and I believe that Peter David have the capacity to do that, and I do believe the team that we put in around him will do what we believe is best for this country as we go around the country and listen to the voices as people ask us questions and also recommend to us the things that we need to see. Food security is fair, energy security, and health care, the pillars for which we need to look at, and our youth. It is critically for us to see those things through.
All right. Pastor Simon, once again, it's a pleasure having you on the program here, sir.
Thank you.
Certainly hope to have you back soon.
Well, anytime.
Probably get even more in-depth with the conversation.
Yes.
Thank you once again.
Sure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, folks, that's where we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Thank all who contributed. Have a good one, folks. Great weekend to come. Goodbye.